I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Friday live broadcast, where we bring you information regarding American accent training, help for American English pronunciation and intonation, and general skills to improve your overall communication in American English, both for your personal life and your professional life. If you're new to class, welcome. We have these question and answer classes each week on Friday, and you can always watch the replay as well. If you have questions, please feel free to put those in the chat, and I will talk about your topics, answer your questions for pronunciation, or anything else related to American accent training. In our last few classes, we've been talking about vowel sounds and vowel spelling. And this is something that's really helpful for pronunciation because, as you know, in American English, we have only 5 vowel letters. So we have A, E, I, O, and U, but we have 15 vowel sounds, and we don't even spell those same 15 sounds the same way each time. So spelling in English is very complex, confusing, and while there are some rules, and I'll teach you what you need to know that will help you in terms of the rules, it's very helpful to learn the different vowel sounds. And so we're going to focus on the letter U today and the different vowel sounds that it can make. And in the previous weeks, we looked at the letter E, the letter O, and the letter A. And I highly recommend checking out those videos. You can go to Speech Modification Seattle on YouTube, and you can see past live streams, and you'll see all of those classes. And also on my website, speechmodification.com, I have lessons for all of the vowel sounds, and you can check out past lessons and past classes to help you with vowel sounds and spelling. All of my classes on YouTube and Facebook are free, so welcome. I'm glad to have you here. And like I said, feel free to comment anytime in the chat, and I'll be getting back to you. If you are watching on YouTube, I want to invite you to join my Facebook group. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook and you haven't joined the group, you're welcome as well. It's a new group, so I have my Facebook page where I post information and live videos, and now I've formed a learning group. And the great thing about the learning group is that I'm allowed to post lessons. And so you can look at that group, you can join the discussion, you can see other people working on improving their accent, and you can go through the learning units to learn about specific topics like vowel sounds and spelling, or intonation, or how to find lots of free resources from speechmodification.com. So I encourage you to join that. And also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, I ask you to do that as well if you're interested, if you like these classes, which you'll find out in a minute, I guess, if you're new, because that tells YouTube that people want to see the class, and it also allows my videos to show up on your homepage. So you can just see what the latest is when I'm live, when I have a new video. So we'll talk more about that later. Let's get more into our topic today. So the letter U, when you were taught to read and write in English, you might have been taught long vowel and short vowel. I don't use that terminology because I think that it can be kind of confusing when you're looking at how long to hold a vowel, so how long to say a vowel in a word. But that's one way that we address the problem that one letter doesn't say just one sound. So the letter U in American English will usually say the sound This is called Vowel Schwa. It sounds like and the anchor words that I use for Vowel Schwa are such, fun. So the letter U says in the words such and fun. And most of the time when you see the letter U, it's going to say that sound. Some other very common words that have the schwa vowel for letter U are much, cut, just, sun, summer, up, us, under, suddenly, stuff, run, hungry. And there are more, but those are the ones that you'll probably be using the most. And so I'm going to just show you what that looks like. So when you look up a word in the dictionary, it will show you the pronunciation, but you might not be used to reading the symbols that are there. And if you use a dictionary that uses what's called Ipa Symbols, that stands for the International Phonetic Alphabet. And for the letter U, some of the vowel sounds are the schwa, which would look like this in Ipa. It can also look like this when it's not stressed, and it looks like this when it's stressed. I talk a lot more about Vowel Schwa, stressed and unstressed schwa, what that means, in my Vowel Schwa video and on my vowels playlist. And I'll go into that detail a little bit later in today's class. But I just want to point out that that's when the vowel, letter U says this vowel sound that sounds like in words like such and fun. So that's one of the most common pronunciations for the letter U. But the letter U can also say oo, which I don't always spell O-O, obviously. The letter U can say oo. This is the Ipa symbol. So you'll see this symbol in the dictionary for this oo sound. And that's in words like tune and true and blue. And you'll notice that in this case, there is also an E in these words. Last week we talked about how an E at the end of the word can often make the letter, quote unquote, say its name. So we talked about that if I just had this word, ton, I would have my such fun vowel. Fun and ton would rhyme. But because there's an E there, it's the tune. It sounds like an oo, tune. And one of the things that is useful to know about this vowel oo is that in some cases, the letter U is going to say you, like this. And these are the symbols for that. So this is the symbol for ya, and this is the symbol for oo, and together they sound like you. So sometimes non-native speakers have some confusion with letter U in words like use, unit, communicate. That U really has to say two sounds. It doesn't say communicate, it says communicate. And knowing when it's going to be an oo and when it's going to be a U is something that being able to look at those symbols can be very useful for. In addition, we have some words with a different spelling, not letter U, but for example, like new versus few. In British English, they might use U for both of these. They might say new and few. But in American English, we just say new with no y sound, and we say few with a y sound. And on speechmodification.com, you can get some more help and more information about which words say oo and which words say you with those vowels. So that would hopefully be helpful for you. If you say new, like a British English speaker, you'll be well understood in American English, but it will sound different than Americans because they won't be using the y sound. They'll just be saying new. Some more words that have the U for the letter U are cute, mute, menu, unit, unify, useful, user, etc. So as you see, letter U, even though it's only one letter, has three typical sounds. Most commonly, it sounds like sometimes it sounds like oo, and sometimes it sounds like you. We also have letter U in a fourth sound. I guess I'll go ahead and put it right on here for you. And this is sometimes that letter U says and the phrase I use to help you with isn't spelled with U. But I like to pair this vowel with the words good and book because these are words that you're often pronouncing correctly. Words that are spelled with letter U that have the vowel some of them are push and pull, put and full. And also we spell this with OU in words like could, would, and should. The typical error that I hear for this vowel sound, the vowel sound, is that sometimes people will use more of an oo sound. So they might be trying to say push and pull, and it sounds more like push and pull. That's because in many languages you have an oo vowel and you don't have an vowel. And you can get more help for correctly pronouncing the vowel on my vowels playlist and on my video just about vowel I should mention that for all of the vowel sounds, I have videos for that specific sound, and I will also have videos that will tell you what some of the error patterns you might have based on your native language. So when we learn our first language, we develop a sound system in our brain for all of the sounds, but in particular for the vowel sounds. And so for many of you in your native language, you might have vowels similar to these vowels, like we see in Spanish. We have the E, the E, the A, the O, and the U. And in American English, here's our 15 vowel sounds. And you can see that there are some places where these vowels line up. So if I overlap the sounds and I show you the Spanish vowels on top of the American English vowels, here we see that the E and the U are lined up. They're the same vowel sound. But here's our vowel, as in good book, and you might not have that vowel in your language. And so your tendency is to go to a similar vowel sound like the oo, and you might have difficulty hearing the difference between those. I like to use the E and the I as another example of this. Many languages don't have an I. This is the vowel in words like live and did and didn't. And this is the vowel in words like need and leave. So you can hear how live and leave are fairly similar sounding vowels. And if you only have the E in your language, when you're saying and hearing live, your brain might be interpreting it more as a leave. So if you've ever noticed that you have difficulty differentiating some of those close sounding vowels, my vowels playlist can really help you with that, as well as specific lessons I have on my website, speechmodification.com, can help walk you through vowel sounds and vowel sound differences. I also suggest on my website that you can download some of my free resources. So one of the things that you might like is, and by the way, I'm going to be teaching some evening classes here in Bellevue starting in June. So I hope you can join me for those if you're here in the local area. For those of you, for everyone else, and also those of you here locally, to find free resources, you can use my free practice materials, and I'll point out some of my free downloads that are in my store. So on the store page, you go to the free downloads, and one of the useful ones for the vowel sounds is my Vowel Sounds of English, and you'll see that here. This American English Vowel Sounds download has the chart I was showing you with all of the vowel sounds, and then it also has what common words have each vowel sound and how to spell that, what's the most frequent spelling for the different vowels, and it can really help you orient to what those different vowel sounds are. It's a useful tool to have with you while you're attending class and when you're going through other materials on the website, and that's free, so you can download it. And in addition, in the store page, you can get free downloads that will tell you which vowel sounds you're likely to have based on your accent. So we'll look more at resources in just a moment. Catherine says, can you please pronounce the word girlfriend? Girlfriend. Yes, so let's talk about what are the sounds in the word girlfriend. I have a video, if you go to my channel page and you search on the word girl, or on my website, you search on the word girl, I've just recently made a pretty detailed video that helps you pronounce the word girl. Many people struggle with that because it has the R and the L. And so in that video, I talk about when I'm saying girl, it can be really helpful to think of it as having two parts. So thinking of it as girl. And then that helps me make a difference between the R in the back of my mouth, grr, and the L in the front of my mouth, girl. Actually, I don't suggest that. Girl. If I add girlfriend, then I also have another R to contend with here. And this vowel in friend is vowel eh, like in red tent. The stress on girlfriend is on the first syllable. So I tend to say girl with some length, and friend is shorter, girlfriend. That's the same stress pattern as boyfriend. So I would stress boy and shorten on friend. If you find that challenging to do that sequence of sounds, you can practice girl and friend separately and begin to pull them closer together. So I would practice girl, friend, girlfriend, girlfriend. And you can identify which parts of the word are difficult for you and isolate them, and then bring them into the word. That's typically a good strategy for challenging words. Thank you for the question. Yes, so please feel free to ask any questions at any time. If you have other questions that aren't related to vowels or that have to do with something else, feel free to ask those. And welcome to Mohammed and Abdallah. Thank you for your greetings and for joining us today on Facebook. I want to talk a little bit more about vowel sounds and spelling. And I'm going to put a link in the chat for you that is some information about how you can know what vowels typically say and how you can use spelling, how you can learn about spelling. If you're new to English, it can be really helpful to learn the sounds and start from the sounds, be aware of which words have which sounds, and then learn how to spell those sounds. That's how American children learn. They know the sounds because they learn to speak and listen before they learn to read and write. And then, it's challenging for them to determine how to spell certain words. They typically misspell words because they can hear the vowel sounds and they don't know all the different exceptions for spelling. So this link on my website will tell you some of the simple rules for spelling, what's the best guess for looking something up. And then I also highly recommend getting used to using the online dictionary. So I'm going to show you the online dictionary that I like, which is the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. And so why I like this dictionary is that it uses the Ipa symbols, the same symbols that I use in my classes. And I can also listen to the words. So for example, let's just try a word like understand that has a U. So I can know what vowel sound I should be looking for with understand. So when I click on the word, it's going to show me both the British English, that's the BRE version, and the North American English version, how to pronounce the two. And part of why this might be useful for you is that maybe when you first learned English, you were taught British English pronunciation versus American English pronunciation. And so many dialects of English are more similar to British than American English. Typically, Americans can understand you if you're using a British pronunciation, but you may be wanting to learn what the American pronunciations are. And then I can see, here's my symbol for the letter U. It's this upside down V. That's my schwa sound, the sound. I can also see where the stress is in the word, what the other vowel sounds are in the word, and I can listen to it. Okay, that was pretty quiet. She said, understand. So the best and easiest way to learn pronunciation for a word typically is to hear it and repeat it multiple times. So you get it in your ear, and then you're able to make that same sound. So you can check that out. That's called Oxford Learner's Dictionary. And you can also find many, many helping lessons and videos on my website and on my channel page. So I recently also made some videos specifically about vowel sounds and spelling, and I'll be continuing to make those and upload those. So as I mentioned before, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you are enjoying this class, please feel free to subscribe, and you can click on the bell for notifications, and then YouTube will let you know when I'm live, when I have uploaded new videos, and my videos might appear on your homepage, and you can select those, check those out. So those of you who are here locally, I hope you can join me in June for a 4-week class. It'll be Wednesday nights in Bellevue, and it's a fundamentals class. We're going to be looking at some of the basics of American accent training and getting you started. And for those of you who aren't here, a really great way to get going with your American accent training are my online courses. You can check those out for free. You get a free trial, and those are on speechmodification.com. I recommend starting with my 6-week class because it gives you a really good foundation, tells you about accent error patterns and how to correct them, and it's full of videos, lessons, quizzes, and a lot of tips that should help you. For those of you locally, I'm going to go ahead and put the link for the 4-week class in June here in the comments, and you can check that out. If you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to ask those now. You can also put them in the comments for this video or any of my videos, and I do go back and check those. I'm happy to direct you to where you can find free resources, both on my channel page, on my Facebook group, and on my website. Most of my materials are free and available for you to use. I want you to be able to learn and get your questions answered, and I'm here to help you with that. Pamela has a question about classes for Spanish speaking. Yes, so my in-person classes are for all languages, but they do focus on the patterns that are very common for Spanish speakers. I've had many Spanish speakers in my classes, and also I do work with people one-on-one. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out on my website, or feel free to contact me. My email is christine@speechmodification.com, and I offer a free consultation, so I can talk you through various training options, online courses, and in-person classes, and you can find out what might be best for you. My Spanish speaking online course is just tailored to the patterns that Spanish speakers have. My group class in June is going to be dealing with those exact same patterns. Many of the patterns that we're looking at are those vowel sounds like E versus I. That's typical for Spanish speakers. The American R, the American TH sound, and also for Spanish speakers, the Z sound. Some of these intonation patterns and pronunciation patterns that affect your language. So thank you for the question, and I hope that you'll be able to join me in some capacity or another. Next week in our Free Friday class, I would like to look at words that have the same sounds, but different spelling and different meanings. So some examples would be words like sun versus sun. Those have the same pronunciation. They both have our vowel, even though one is spelled with O and one is spelled with U. And obviously this one means sun in the sky, and this one is my son, as in daughter and son. Or another example, where versus where. Both of these have the vowel, even though one is spelled E-R-E and one is spelled E-A-R. This is the question word, and this is the verb for wearing clothes. Or another example, one and one. This is the number, and this is the verb. And again, they both have the vowel schwa, the sound. We often look at a word like one, and we don't think about the fact that the first sound in that word is a w sound, and then there's the sound. So I'll have many more examples for you of these types of homonyms, words that have different spelling, different meaning, but the same sound. Oftentimes, these are places where we struggle with pronunciation, not because necessarily they're hard words to say, but the spelling leads us astray. And so just like vowels, spelling can make us have pronunciation differences or errors, so can words that we hear them that they sound the same, but we think we should be pronouncing them differently because the spelling is different. So that's next week, Friday at 12 o'clock. We'll be having that live class, and of course, taking your questions about any other topic related that day as well. Thank you so much for being a part of class today, and I hope you found this information useful. If you're watching this on the replay, please feel free to put your comments and questions in the comments, and I will get back to you with where you can find the answers to those questions. And if I haven't mentioned it already, please also check out my new Facebook group. On the Facebook group, we have learning units and lessons, so you can go through those and get some more help for more details for American accent training. Thanks so much for being a part of class. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com.